Hello and welcome to Ears for Dragon, an Eragon reread podcast. I'm your host Charlie.
I'm Nick.
I'm Shan.
And I think this week Nick is on...
Today I'm on the recap. So we got three little chapters today. We have Revelation at Yazuac, Admonishments, and Magic is the Simplest Thing. So, we'll start off with Revelation at Yazuac. So we've just left, we've weathered this giant storm, and back to traveling on the road. It's getting kind of dark out, and Eragon's a little worried that they're not going to reach Yazuac, but Brom reassures them that it won't be long, and after a little bit of travel, they see Yazuac in the distance, and they see the river to either side of it. I think Saphira spots it first, because obviously she's got a bit of a better angle on it, and they do reach Yazuac. Something is wrong. It's quiet and too quiet when they're walking in. They note that there's no dogs barking, no sounds of people, and they approach with caution, walking around the town, circling the outside, still being wary of the Yazuac lying in wait. And as they reach the town center, they see this awful sight of a mountain of corpses. Horrifically described, men, women, and children, and a baby at the peak of the pile. So right here we've got the villains cemented as unforgivably evil because they would go as far to kill a baby and everyone else in this town. Terrible, awful.
And they put it on a stick.
Yeah. Eragon throws up.
Yeah.
He throws up on his horse.
He throws up on the horse.
Poor
It's terrible. As Brom and Eragon inspect the tracks around to look for the Yazuac, they find that this is actually the work of Urgles, and it turns out some of the Urgles are still in this town as they're ambushed right next to the pile of corpses. A fight ensues. Brom gets mortally injured. No, not mortally, just regularly injured, actually. Eragon's like in his first fight ever, I think. Mm-hmm. He's got his bow and arrow, which isn't very good in close quarters. He gets corralled into an alleyway, and as the adrenaline's rushing through his veins, he feels the energy of, I don't know, life itself, which manifests into a blazing wave of blue light, a destructive wave, as he casts magic for the first time. Woohoo! The giant explosion, killing the Urgles instantly. And that's the end of Revelation at Yazuac. Pretty cool. Nice little action sequence. Next in Admonishments, we start off with the consequence of using magic, which is Eragon being shown as completely drained of energy. He's hobbling along. He finds Kadok and goes over to Brom, finds Brom injured and unconscious. Saphira arrives, has a bit of a moment with Eragon, saying, "I shouldn't have left you, it's so dangerous here," and she was right. It takes them a little bit, but Saphira helps Brom and Eragon, and the horses too, get to safety. Brom gets put on Saphira's back to be flown just further out of the city. They leave Yazuac. They travel along the Ninor and set up camp a little bit out of the city, watering the horses too. And Eragon has some time thinking about how suspicious it was that there were Urgles there, and Urgles gathered at all, and that there was just two of them. And also, he begins to ask Brom what the hell is going on with the discovery of magic itself. Brom is unfortunately back to his grumpy old man self, brushing off Eragon's questions, and I mean, I think he's a little bit hurt that he did lose that fight, but that's okay. We get a touch of explanation of the magic system. So we learn about how magic is drawn from the power of names, which I think is very cool. Brom starts whining at Eragon and saying, you shouldn't use magic. It's terrible. It's not good. You're not trained at all. And, well, Brom, you haven't trained him at all, so that's kind of on you. And also, Eragon didn't even know that magic existed until now. So, there's not really much he could have done. Brom gives a very bad explanation of magic in this chapter. It gets better later on, but he has a lot of bad teacher hypocrite moments saying, ooh, magic is bad, you should only ever use it when you really need it. Forgetting that a day before he lit a campfire with magic.
He was blowing his stupid little smoke rings.
Yeah. Anyway, we find that magic is kind of... It has limitations, but they're physical limitations, and it's kind of well outlined. And you kind of have to announce how much energy you're putting into the spell before you use it. Anyway, they do get to sleep for the night, nice and safe outside of Yazuac, and Eragon survives the first battle. Next we move to magic is the simplest thing.
We learned that it is not.
We learned that magic's not really simple at all, but that's okay.
His ass is not simple.
There seems to be better spirits on the team in the morning. They're off traveling again. Eragon starts to ask about magic and about the Urgles. And Brom seems a little more forthcoming about the answers of like how magic works and such. I would like to bring up that first Eragon asks about how Brom got injured, and Brom tries to save face by saying, oh no, he attacked my horse, it wasn't my fault, and then he changes the subject and starts talking about magic. So we talk about the different forms of magic. We're shown that in this universe there are wizards, witches, sorcerers, and riders seem to be on a different form of magic at all. Which I'm not too sure that really comes up very much.
There's the Shade, who's a sorcerer.
No, but the Shade isn't a sorcerer. The Shade's a Shade.
The Shade's a Shade. We do get a witch.
There's also magicians.
There are magicians too.
Magicians are also listed and are different from all of those other wizards and sorcerers and witches.
Yeah, I think magicians do tricks. Magicians do parlor tricks or whatever. We talk about how the riders, with their different form of magic, it's a very physical thing, it's very physically demanding, and in order to train it, they go through the worst training I've ever heard of, which involves being frustrated and hoping that you get pissed off enough that your innate magic just sets off at some point, and then you can finally begin training. But up until then, you've got no idea why you're doing this stupid training. Even though it's kind of established that every rider does have magic, and they do expect that every rider is going to get that, they still put them through this terrible, terrible task of picking up rocks with their feet. But magic is drawn from the Old Tongue, or the ancient language, and we found out that the elves speak the ancient language mostly. It's very cool. You're not allowed to lie in the ancient language, which I think is a fun little magic binding experiment. And also, the elves can lie, but only through telling like the truth as vaguely as possible, which is pretty neat. And that does come up later. But more importantly, names have power, and the true names have power, like names of magic, of things, of elements, and of people as well. So elves seem to innately know their true names, which is
Silly.
Pretty silly. Everyone else just has to go through a spiritual journey to find out their own, and if you know someone else's name, you've got a lot of power over them. Brom tries to start off the magic training by frustrating Eragon as much as possible by saying, here's a pebble, try levitate it. Which, I mean, actually Eragon does do that, so it's a pretty good display of magic. He's got some strong innate magic. After this, Brom says, okay, now do it again. And this continues for a little bit. And there's a little more training. And Brom starts to do some actual teacher stuff, like teaching the ancient language and telling Eragon how to focus his efforts and such. And we begin to see the fruits of their labor. And Eragon is beginning to become a bit more competent as a writer, as a fighter. And we also see Saphira's growing a bit more. So it's a good step in their journey. The end of this chapter, following all the training arc, we get an ominous nightmare with Garrow and Roran working at the farm. Garrow asks Eragon what he's fighting for, and Eragon tells him that it's a revenge quest. And Garrow looks at him and transforms into Yazuac and says, "Then die," and leaps at Eragon. Eragon wakes up, looks at the stars, and Saphira comforts him before they can go back to sleep.
Yeah, nothing. I'm not going to say nothing chapters. Revelation at Yazuac has a lot going on.
Revelation Yazuac's.
It's a lot of exposition, these chapters.
You learn a lot.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we've read the book before and know it.
Yeah, I'm sure for a new person coming into those chapters, it would have been so interesting. But
Learning about magic systems is cool.
it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed the. I guess we'll get there after the revelation. But
We'll talk about Revelation at Yazuac first.
Yeah, I have been wrong. Last week I talked about Yazuac being a total freak show, but I think that is the next village coming up, which is Darrett, which is that river village where everyone's really weird.
I don't really remember that.
Oh, I think I remember it very, very clearly, just because it's also in the movie.
Yeah, I remember Tarim as the important town.
Tarim's super weird as well.
Tarim's super weird, but it's fun.
But it's like government weird.
Yeah. There's a lot going on there. There's almost nothing going on at Yazuac.
Well, there's currently nothing going on due to them having been massacred.
Yeah, it's not their fault.
Considering they are all dead, there will be nothing happening for a while.
Before Yazuac, the first note that I have written down is the fact that it describes him crunching up an empty water bag.
They're made of leather.
What do you mean you crunched it up? Did you forget that it wasn't a water bottle? Like those single-use water bottles that crunch down to nothing?
Yeah.
Eragon get plastic somehow. Yeah,
He's
thought that was really
doing
good.
that thing where someone one-shots the entire bottle.
That's so disgusting. That's such an evil skill to
No,
have.
Eragon. It's got microplastics.
No.
No.
Anyway, that's really not important. But why did he crunch? Why did it crunch?
Why did it crunch?
This is your Dragon Rider. This is your Dragon Rider on microplastics.
This time while I was reading it, I was actually going back and looking at the map and seeing, yep, the river is there, either side of Yazuac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neat.
The Ninor?
And the Ninor River.
Neener.
I don't normally look at maps while reading. I just kind
Really?
of yeah.
I'm constantly flicking back and forth. I need to know exactly where they are at all times.
I don't really think about it. I think it's because it's a distrust of how well the author is going to write their own geography.
Yeah.
That's true. I guess
And how well the artists can interpret their instructions of what the geography is to create the map.
I guess I just have total red wall brain poisoning because they have a map in front of every book and it's at the same location and they're always completely different. They're like, this is Mossflower, I promise. Anyway, here's 4 new landmarks that didn't show up in any other book.
Well, they just found them.
They're new.
Yeah.
And so I spent a lot of time when I was a kid reading. I only read books with maps in the front, on purpose. And so I'm looking, checking, making sure everything's in the right spot.
Also, my geography skills and general direction skills are not very good, so I can't visualize the map in my head anyway.
I see.
Other stuff is fine. Just directions, terrible.
You got that getting lost on a straight road kind of.
Depends if I've seen the straight road before.
You got that Ji Sung-hyun. Lost with GPS.
God. To be fair, the GPS lady sucks, so it's easier to get lost with GPS. Always telling you to do wrong turns.
She's always telling me to do a fucking U-turn on the main
On a
road.
one-way road.
She's like,
Turn into traffic
she's like,
now.
Yeah, turn through that wall. It's like, ma'am.
Drive across 3 lanes of traffic.
I really can't do that.
So, no traffic in Yazuac.
0 traffic.
0 traffic. No dogs.
Yeah.
There's a fox.
Yeah, I thought with the like suspense stuff that they had walking in, I thought it was interesting that they don't really he doesn't really describe the town as particularly weird until after they have a whole bunch of dialogue about how weird it is.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like there's smoke coming from some chimneys, but no one's on the street. And then it says an abnormal silence enveloped the village. But if it didn't say abnormal, that wouldn't be that weird.
Oh, but
People it could be dinner time. But then they talk about, this is weird, yes. Weird, yes. And then all the descriptions of the weird stuff comes in.
And then it's like, oh, it's dark, there's shattered windows, the doors are broken.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, by the way, it's really weird.
It's really weird.
Yeah, I thought that little exchange between them was really good. Like, a lot of the dialogue so far has been huge chunks of exposition, or like Brom just lecturing.
Yeah.
Or like, I think he has a tendency to write his like spoken sentences way too long. But I thought that they were just like, they're clearly freaked out and like, oh, this is weird. Yes, this is weird. This is bad. And they're kind of like ratchets the tension up pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and bring it all in with the description of the mountain of bodies is crazy. It's so vivid.
Yeah, it's like half a page as well.
Yeah.
I remember when I like reading that as a little kid, that image really stuck with me.
Definitely.
Just like it's perfectly described to the point where it's like you have an extremely clear image of the situation, and it sucks so
almost
bad.
uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I mean, definitely.
It's pretty uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But like,
and then the impaled baby.
The impaled baby's so fucked up.
Yeah.
Eragon's reaction is really realistic, and I think that's nice. He at one point there's that raven that's like going to go eat the baby's eyes or whatever, and he kills it with his bow.
Yeah, I really like how much how often Eragon cries and how easily it throws up. As like a young male character written by a young male writer, I really like that. There's just like
it's honest.
Yeah, it's honest in a way that I feel like a lot of young men wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Like he's not like, oh, this is terrible, and turning his face away a little bit. He's
he actually cannot
he's like
crying
this is so horrible and throwing up and like he's so mad
because it's horrible.
Yeah.
I really like that as just like a trait of the writing.
It's good characterization.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought like obviously it's a little like heavy-handed with the dead baby, but like
then Brom has a few sentences saying these people are evil and really, really evil.
Yeah, they're so evil, but like I think it's a pretty pristine like loss of innocence moment.
Oh yeah,
for Eragon, like, and it's like you were saying, really good characterization for him in this chapter where he's had the worst week.
It's been terrible.
It's been so bad for him.
It's been so bad.
And like I think it does a good job of like distilling down to what kind of protagonist he's going to end up being, which is he's just really stupid and really compassionate. And I love that for him. I think it's so nice.
They don't get much rest because as they're inspecting it and just almost walking away, two Urgles jump out of an alleyway and ambush them.
I think first Brom finds like tracks that are really fresh, and he's like, they're still in the city.
Yeah.
And then they're riding away on their horses, and he gets like in a comedy movie, a giant fist comes out of an alleyway and knocks him off his horse.
Yeah.
And the image I have of that is like literally a cartoon.
Yeah. I mean, how big does an Urgle have to be for a quote giant fist to come out of an alleyway?
Also like standing at horse height.
They are big. They are really big.
They are big. A giant fish smashed him out. A giant fist smashed him out of the saddle. He flew back and crashed into a wall.
This dude's been set up on by giants.
There's also a pretty gross description of the Urgle.
Yeah, they're really yucky here. They get less yucky later.
I hate that his clothes are so small. Why doesn't he have normal clothes? clothes.
I'm
I love his
imagining like
little
this
cropped breastplate.
tiny iron cap.
Teeny little hat.
Like
and
little
a tiny
Viking
little
hat.
shield.
Yeah.
It's like as wide as his arm. He does catch an arrow in it, which
I
is
think
pretty
it's
sick.
because
They're
they
pretty
are
good with using
stealing
it.
from like human forces.
Yeah, probably.
That makes some sense.
But
They're largely scavengers, I think, until you get actual named Oracle characters. They're just orcs.
Yeah.
And so they're just wielding whatever weapon and wearing whatever armor they can find.
Whatever they have.
Yeah. They are so just Tolkien orcs in this. It's
They're just
so
orcs.
funny.
Yeah.
Why did they do this? I can't remember what their like motivation for killing everyone in this town was.
evil.
They
Well,
got
they're
told to. They're evil.
You're evil.
Well, evil. They're the bad guys.
Baddies are bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eragon's first instinct is to pull out his trusty bow.
It's like you're in close quarters combat.
It's not going to work, man.
Well, he does manage to get a shot off, but the Urkel catches it in his tiny shield.
Pretty cool.
Which is pretty sick and knocks him over. And then I love this bit. I think it's so funny when he's like knocked over that one Urkel and he gets up and he runs towards the other one who's attacking Brom and he screams as he's like charging head first and the Urkel paused in astonishment, then faced him contemptuously, swinging his axe. Like, are you kidding me?
Like, what the fuck?
Like, you're gonna headbutt me? Are you for real? And he just
I've got-
turns around with his axe.
I've got horns. I'm the headbutting guy. You're gonna headbutt me?
Yeah, I think that's so funny.
I think it says that.
The fact that it says paused in astonishment, he like took a break from killing Brom.
Eragon, like,
fucking
claws his
mouse
side.
running.
Yeah.
I think with his hands?
He's just scratching
he's
him,
just
yeah.
Scratches
scaring
him. It does a pretty good job.
Yeah,
It makes
he
him really
leaves
angry.
deep furrows.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like,
he's-
how sharp are your nails?
He's 15. He did not bring nail scissors with him on this trip. So,
They've been sharpened.
Oh, I hope he's eating enough like stuff with keratin in it and his nails aren't just breaking.
Yeah, he gets trapped in this alleyway. The dead end.
yeah.
And then images flash in his mind of the dead villagers and the innocent baby who would never grow to adulthood.
He's like, he just is so mad and is like, I'm not dying here. Okay,
Yeah.
get exploded. Who cares?
It's cool.
It's sick.
I think it is cool.
The first
must-
manifestation of his magic.
Yeah.
I do think that brissing it as a motif for him is kind of lame.
Yeah.
Of all the...
Like, no, just that it becomes his thing.
Yeah.
And it's just fire.
You're the fire guy.
Of all the things that your motif could have been.
And also it doesn't line
His
up
fire is blue, which
It
is
is-
cool.
with, well, my dragon's blue, so my fire's blue, of course. But, like, I just, like, fire doesn't really line up with his personality or the way he goes about things usually.
So far, at least, he's not a particularly fiery person. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, he's on a revenge quest to kill.
But
But that's kind of mostly Saphira.
Saphira wants to kill so badly.
I feel like if he's aligned with any element, it's wind.
Does Saphira have fire yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
No.
I think
She
her
smokes when she's mad.
Yeah.
cigars or
So do I.
I think in one of Brom's info dumps, he said they can breathe fire at around 6 months.
Okay.
I'm just, oh my god, I don't know what the fuck that is, but it's chuffing a fat darts. Severe with the biggest cigar you've ever seen.
Saphira hands you the booth.
No.
It crushes you.
No!
You're like that guy in Boston.
They do have dragon drugs later, right? Do you remember the dragon drugs?
Yeah.
I'm not sure I
crazy.
remember the dragon drugs.
Oh, she gets dragon drugs.
He does get dragon
Cool.
drugs later.
And Eragon's like a narc about it.
Bro, the bluntness of Saphira's holding you is like that guy in Oregon who filled those scuba tanks packed completely with weed
Oh my god.
to try to instantly vaporize them, and he got exploded. He didn't die, but he did get his balls blown off
Oh
because
man.
of the pressurization.
Fate worse than death.
Yeah, it's horrible. And he got all his weed confiscated.
Terrible.
It's so sad.
He needed it most.
What if that happened to Eragon when he blew up those Urgles?
His balls got blown
His
off.
balls got blown up. No, he's completely fine,
Totally
actually.
fine. Yeah, the arrow like explodes these guys' heads, and then the shockwave explodes them.
Yeah.
But it passes completely harmlessly through him.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's like an intent of magic thing that it's killing the evil guys.
Yeah, it seems to be. Well, the description we get later is very intent based.
Yeah, it dissipates against the houses, it
Yeah.
says.
Well, I mean, he said fire, meaning blow these bitches' heads up.
Yeah.
So I guess he got what he wanted.
I love that his palm just becomes like a flashlight.
He later describes it as a little lantern, which is so cute.
Yeah.
And then he like almost collapses.
Yeah.
I'm surprised this didn't kill him, frankly.
Oh yeah. I mean, so is
the
Brom.
protagonist, he'd be dead.
In admonishments, we find out that Brom also was really surprised that this didn't kill him.
Yeah.
I love that his thought that somehow I've become a sorcerer or a wizard.
A magician!
So
Not a magician.
Not a magician.
Oh.
Well, there are, well, I guess that's.
There
that's
seems
next
that there's
chapter.
about
There's
4 or
types.
5 types of magic.
Yeah, yeah.
Four or five types of casters.
Which is very
Putting
funny.
together my Allegasia roleplay game.
Saphira comes back, she's so mad.
So pissed off.
But she's right.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. These guys almost died without her.
Almost dying to 2 guys is really embarrassing.
Almost dying to 2 Urgles.
Yeah, and she would have just died.
Yeah.
She would have been fine.
Oh, no, if Eragon
No,
died, she
you're
would die.
Oh,
She
God!
would just die.
God. What if, you're chilling by the river and then you're like, oh, I guess I'm dead. Like, it's over.
You're
just
in this
randomly
fucking
die.
spirit world like, Eragon, what did you do?
Asshole.
She's also, like, surprised that Eragon killed her. Like, a little proud.
Yeah, she's so vicious and mean and evil. I
Yeah,
love her.
she's very like, this little bitch killed someone?
Sweet.
Yes.
Brom's such a huge bitch every time
Yeah,
Eragon asks
oh
him
my
to teach
God.
him anything about
That's
anything.
literally anything. He's like literally bandaging his wound and letting him ride on his dragon so they can get to safety, and he's just like
And he saved him from the Urgle attack.
and he just saved his life.
and he's just such a bitch.
Like, his express purpose in joining the journey, from his point of view, is to, like, teach Eragon Dragon Rider shit and make sure he doesn't die.
Yeah.
But he's
and-
actively not teaching him Dragon Rider shit
On
and
purpose.
beating the hell out of him.
And
He
getting
doesn't
mad at
want
him when
to
he asks about it.
Yeah, I kind of feel, I was thinking about this. I think that Brom's intent here, the way he really wanted it all to go down, was, okay, I can get Eragon to come with me if I tell him we're going to do his revenge quest. And then he just takes him to the Varden, and then they go to the elves, and then he tells them everything once he doesn't have the chance to get captured and spill his secrets.
Yeah.
I think that he didn't want to tell him anything. He didn't want to tell them Riders had magic until he was in Elfland with the magic guys.
That's insane. I think the first thing the Riders should know is that they can do magic.
Yeah.
Because it is going to kill them.
Yeah, and if you do it too much accidentally, you die.
The whole point
what
is
if,
like...
what if in your piss them off excursion they got
got
too angry
really
and they
mad.
lifted all the rocks?
Yeah, they fucking die.
Yeah, what if you put a little guy who had undiscovered anger issues in there, and he freaked out and killed himself on accident?
Well, I mean, I think he would kill everyone else. I think that
and
happens.
blows up your castle. What are we gonna do, like, next book when there's no Brom to bitch about?
How are we going to do halfway through this book?
We'll find something else.
Sorry for spoiling.
Eragon's just done magic for the first time ever and is like, hey, that was really scary, can you help me? And Brom is so mad and just like,
Yeah.
Don't do it again.
fuck
It's gonna
off,
kill you.
shut up, fuck, leave me alone.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
Like, what
Whatever.
are you doing?
He literally does think, somehow I've become a sorcerer or a wizard. Which is so funny.
Yeah, how could I have this ability? Was it common among the Riders? And if Brom knew of it, why didn't he tell me?
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Yeah, and he and Saphira are like talking in their heads about this, like,
Yeah.
That's the thing, does Saphira know Brom's history or not? Because if she doesn't
don't
know
know.
that he can, if she's like figuring out now that he can cast, then like, what the fuck did he tell her to get her to trust him?
I have no idea.
Yeah, because Saphira does, like, does point out, hey, Brom's been using magic. How did you
Yeah.
not figure that out? Anyway,
I think she just figures it out.
maybe.
Yeah.
She's never seen magic before either.
Yeah, that's true.
Except her like innate dragon magic, but that's like a completely different kind of thing.
I don't
Yeah.
even think she's used that yet.
Is she not? No, she's like touched her nose to something and it's gone weird.
Yeah, the dragon sword, like, shimmered.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how much that counts. but I guess it's just like,
She loves putting her nose on stuff and making it go Ripley.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like her number one trick.
This isn't something you should be taught, much less use. What are you talking
He's
about,
such a
Brom?
hypocrite. You literally used it the other day
You
to do
literally
pipe
have
tricks.
this and use it.
Every writer gets it. Every writer uses it.
You're going up against extremely dangerous enemies. The least you can do is teach him how to not kill himself by accidentally using it.
Yeah.
Like, even if he didn't want to teach him, like, how to offensively use magic, he could at least teach him how to not use it.
And also, like, a defensive magic spell or something.
Yeah.
You know?
He's such a...
Brom's yelling at him, saying, "Don't fucking ask me about magic.
Brom's like,
I don't know magic.
Don't talk to me. Don't ask me. Especially don't ask me tonight. Maybe you could ask me tomorrow, but do not ask me tomorrow."
Yeah.
And then he's saying like, "Okay, I'll tell you one thing. There's limits to magic, and if you use too much of it, you could die. It's limited by your power and the words you know." And Eragon quite rightly says, "What do you mean the words you know?"
Yeah.
And he's
Brom
like,
says, "Shut the fuck
and
up."
he's like seconds from smacking him with the stick again.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, what do you mean by the words,
Yeah.
Brom?
I want to be careful so I don't fucking kill myself.
He's like... Did you guys ever have, like, a teacher in uni or high school who was just so mad that you were even there, and, like, you show up and you're like, okay, you're my teacher and I don't know anything about the subject, and ask a question because you don't know anything about the subject, and they're like, tuh, 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 how come you don't know all of this already?
Yeah.
Beating you up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was the head of my department. Yeah, so Brom's so mad for no reason.
He also cools off in the space of, like, a page.
Yeah.
He's like, I hate you, fuck you, die, don't ask me about this ever. But
The colour does vary from colour person to person, and it really depends on something.
I don't know anything about magic except for all
It's
things I know
literally,
about.
he literally says, the colour varies from person to person. It depends on who says the word. As to why the fire did what you wanted is a matter of practice. Most beginnings, blah, blah, blah. Like, he goes immediately into lore dump.
He's still mad about it.
Yeah.
I can't figure him out.
Yeah.
Like, from a narrative standpoint, I get that he's supposed to be, like, the gruff mentor, but having him be...
It's so polarizing. There's no in between where it's just
Yeah.
like a little bit gruff and cooling down. It's
Yeah,
either he
having
hates you or he's like teaching you, but only because he.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
exactly. Like, and having him be, like, such a standoffish kind of grumpy dude, and then also be the one who is pages and pages of lore dump and seeming like he hates it the whole time.
Yeah.
It just can't be useful to have him around, you
Yeah.
know?
Mm-hmm. I love, so Saphira is, like, listening to all of this conversation and goes to Eragon, like, yeah, Brom's a magician. Ask him about this, but be really chill about it and subtle, because he might have bad intents. Why did he live in Carver Hall if he's a magician or a wizard or a sorcerer? And Eragon, it says here, Eragon kept that in mind as he said carefully, Saphira and I just realised something. You can use this magic, can't you?
Eragon kept this in mind as he ratted Saphira out.
Yeah.
Immediately!
As he immediately, completely unsubtly and with no tact said, you do magic.
Hey, you!
But he's
Hang
mentioning
on a
her name so
second.
that if Brom gets mad at him, he knows that
That Saphira figured it
it's
out.
she came up with it, and if you're mean about it, she'll bite your head off, so...
Brom says, I can use magic, but I'm not a writer. So you're stronger than me, and I'm old. And I can't use magic.
I'm
It'd be
so
terrible, it'd be awful,
And
it
I
would
don't
kill
know
me.
very much and I'm not that good.
And
Anyway,
I definitely wouldn't be using it to light a fire.
Here's everything about you need to know about magic. When they go to bed, I love how evil and smug Saphira is for no reason.
Yes.
I love, it's so funny, she's like, we're becoming more powerful, Eragon. Both of us. Soon, no one will be able to stand in our way. And his response to it is, yes, but which way shall we choose?
Anyway,
Whichever one we want, she said smugly. But also, what are you talking about? Which way will we choose?
What do you mean, which way?
Your entire
No.
life right now is your revenge quest, and you have, like, no concept of politics or alternate sides to any conflict. What do you mean, what way will you choose?
He doesn't know about good or evil.
At this point,
He just
he's
knows
pretty
kill.
convinced he's going to kill the Yazuac and go home.
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
Which way? The way is home. Back to Carmel.
She's so villainous.
I love her. She's evil.
She's also
Well, she's not evil. She's just not a human. So she's
she's weird.
Yeah.
She's really, really villainous and smug and weird, and also extremely vain and prideful. And
It's
I think
great.
and she just has so many negative traits that are so fun.
I think they're good traits for a dragon to
Yeah, they're
have. You
I
know?
think they're
Traits for a
excellent. I love later in the series where she's obsessed with giving him like fits. She's like, my little boy's gonna look the best of anyone that any little
I'm
boy's
gonna
ever
slap
looked.
my dude out.
I love that when Dragon Media has that. And the His Majesty's Dragon series by Naomi Novik, the dragons do that a lot.
They dress their friends up.
Yeah, no, they dress their little guy up. So, like, the main character is like he was a naval captain, and then through a series of events ended up with a dragon egg that hatched for him and had to become. It's an alternate universe, so he had to join the Air Force because that's where the dragons go.
I love that.
So he's the captain of a dragon, and his dragon loves buying the most expensive silks and golds to put his captain in. And his captain's a navy guy, and he hates it. He wants to wear normal outfits.
Help, my dragon won't stop playing dress up with me.
My dragon won't stop spending all of our gold.
It's like making up for a dragon not being able to make a hoard. It's like, I'm going to put all the clothes on this little
You
guy.
are my-
Yeah, it's so funny.
It's cute. Yeah, like in the
Bro, you are my hoard.
bro.
Whoa.
In the next chapter, they're like talking about hiding her, and she won't let them put dirt on her scales.
Yeah.
She's too pretty.
Alright, so the chapter's called Magic is the Simplest Thing. We're about to find out that it's not simple at all. We just found out before that if you use too much, it kills you, and
Yeah.
when you use it, you don't know how much you're going to use. And also, you can say a word, but it can also mean anything.
If
Yeah,
you
there's
think
that-
about it the right way.
There's that line that's like a skilled master.
You think
could
about
say
water and it
make
makes a gemstone.
and like how?
Sure?
How?
I don't know.
Well, he's got to hold the right thought structure in his head as
Yeah.
he thinks about it.
You have a
I
rock
don't
and you
know
pour
how.
lots of water over it.
And it goes clear like
Yeah.
water. I see. Got it. Beautiful. Magic's a way bigger deal than I remember it being. Like it's way more rare than I remember it being.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, 'cause it is like
I
just
didn't know that
writers.
everyone was unaware that the writers had magic. I think it's so funny that all these people are just like, yeah, our king's like 120 years old and he's a writer and he's a magician. Those are unrelated. He has a dragon and he's a sorcerer or a wizard or whatever. And he lives in a big castle. And
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on, because it says here, few know it, but every writer could use magic.
Yeah.
Though with differing strengths. How do you keep that secret?
I
yeah,
don't know. And also there's a section where he mentions that like the ability to use magic is not innate to every person, and also that it's dwindling like as the age goes on.
Yeah.
Like less and less people are found that are able to use it. Do you think that
I completely missed that.
yeah,
What's
there's
this
a little section. Do you guys think that like the dragon egg touching ceremony is less about like who you are as a person and just about a dragon sensing that you have the capability to use magic?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just like innate magic, you know?
Yeah.
And so Severa only hatched for him because she was like, oh my god, this kid can do spells.
Yeah, this kid can do magic.
This kid's gonna do so many spells.
Yeah, I love how many. I'm pretty sure it barely comes up.
Never comes up.
I love how many systems of magic get
There's so many
introduced in
types.
one little paragraph.
I have 4 listed here, which is sorcerer, and their source of magic is spirits, magician, source of magic is self, wizard and witch, potions and spells, and rider, source of magic is dragon. There's also a
Sorry, it
I
does say
think
magician whose powers come without the age of
Yeah.
spirits or dragon. Yeah,
So the magician's like
Witch or a
unspecified.
they're just like
innately.
I can use magic.
They're like a
but
D&D
sorcerers-
sorcerer.
Oh, yeah.
And a sorcerer in this is like a
A warlock.
warlock.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Use
But-
spirits.
And riders are just dragon warlocks.
Riders are dragon warlocks. I think the definition between witches and wizards should be different. Outside of the gender thing, I think like wizards do spells and witches do I don't know,
Rituals
potions.
and potions and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, curses, hexes.
Yeah.
That's kind of what Angela does.
Yeah,
Fun
she's,
fact, she's named after her sister.
I know, it's so cute. Yeah, she's.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's.
Use spirits.
She's
And she wrote some in the tie-in novel, which I have not read. There's some of the short stories she's written.
Yeah, I really wish... I mean, we get a bit of the shade. Like, we don't just get that prologue. We do get a chapter from his perspective at one point, which in this book, which I think I remember being one of my favourite chapters.
Yeah.
And you, like, learn about how he became a shade and how he got his magic and stuff, and that stuff's really interesting, and, like, how his magic works. Which is, like, so different from how name magic works, and then it never comes up again.
So sad.
Yeah, nobody else ever uses it.
I think we get to know a tiny bit about witch magic because of Angela, but, like, she's not telling her secrets.
No, she's got her little crystal ball.
She's got her funny little cat boy, and it's like the most cursed little baby ever.
Yeah.
That poor child.
We'll get to her.
So excited
I
to
love
get to
her.
that chapter. Yeah, she's such a freak.
Poor thing.
Alright, so again, the worst training regimen of all time.
This thing, I've been thinking about this. I was originally very pissed off about this and thought, well, that doesn't even make sense in all of this, because how could you do name magic by accident if you don't know any names? But I guess they're part of their writer training. Some of them are elves and stuff. They must be taught the ancient language before they learn about magic existing.
Yeah.
But I was very like, are you kidding me?
I'm pretty sure, like, all elves can do magic as well.
All elves can speak the ancient language, so I think it's just based on how much innate magic they have, how much magic they can do.
But, like, would an elf going into rider training not already know
that
about
magic exists?
Yeah.
And wouldn't you be like, hey, my little human friends, guess what I'm about to tell you?
Yeah. Like,
It just feels like it would have been an incredibly difficult thing to keep secret within the order. Like, outside of it, I get it.
yeah.
But,
Also within the order.
yeah, to your trainees, like, that doesn't make
Like,
a
they're
lot of
gonna
sense.
figure it out.
Yeah.
And, like, oh, someone did it accidentally, they had to get taken away for private training. It's like, well, that sucks.
Yeah.
Like,
Eragon figured it out, and he's in the middle of nowhere with one guy.
And he's been a writer for 2 months.
Yeah. And he's Eragon.
I guess he's also older than most of them normally were.
That's true. They started at, like, 11, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
like 10 or 11 or something. But
Brom does mention that no rider of his age has been able to do what he did.
yeah, because they get made to spend years strengthening their bodies.
Bodybuilding.
They fill ever-draining tubs full of water,
Yeah,
and then they get infuriated enough to use magic.
No, but before that, they spend years bodybuilding to have enough physical strength
Yeah,
to be able to do the magic, so that they don't kill themselves filling the tub.
Eragon is such a very special boy once again. I love how good he is at everything. It's so funny. It's like, yes, I can talk to animals with my mind. Yes, I can do spells without being trained.
Yes, my innate magic is so powerful.
So strong. We get the first mention of true names, which will become a huge and annoying plot point.
Yeah.
It's too much. I don't like it. It's just like I think writing that into your story backs you into a corner wherein, like,
You're gonna have to use.
you're gonna have to use it,
it.
and it's way too powerful.
Yeah.
And also, it just becomes, like, eventually, it just comes down to, beating an opponent just comes down to, do you know their true name?
Yeah, did you figure it out?
Yeah, did you figure it out? Do they know yours?
Yeah.
And
Which, like, isn't a very compelling fight.
No, it's a
No.
fail state. Like, if they know your true name, you're fucked and it's over.
Yeah. So, another, like, series that I read with name magic, obviously, is Name of the Wind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the naming in that is really good because it's powerful, but it's also kind of transient. So, like, after all the study you do specifically on the element to figure out what its name is, then you can sometimes tap into its power, and the name of whatever reveals itself to you, but then can go away as well. So, obviously, Quoth in that is looking for the name of the wind and finds it a little bit, but then it goes away.
Interesting. Yeah, I heard that the magic system in that book was pretty good. I also heard it was unreadably misogynistic, so I've decided not to.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've had it recommended to me by book bros several times, and then every woman I've spoken to who's read it has been like, it was miserable. It was just absolutely miserable.
I think because I started on the second book not knowing there was a first one.
Huh? How did that go for you?
Well, it was actually quite good because it was a bit less misogynistic.
And you went to read the first one like, something's going on.
Well, I didn't read the chapter where he's just fucking a fae succubus for like a whole month. I don't know.
Oh my god, I'm sorry, but I don't think adult men should be allowed to write books. Stop. Yeah, I think I had a fun conversation with a friend about that book recently, where he's just like, the main character is not even fun Eragon good at everything, but he's a blacksmith and he's a leather worker and he's the best spell boy on the planet, and he's like, really sexy.
Yeah, it's an in-joke because he's telling his own story, so he gets to be unreliable narrator. It's like, oh, I'm the best at everything and every woman loves me.
That softens the blow a bit.
Yeah. Because like the whole premise is that he's telling someone else's story.
I see. This magic system is ripped pretty wholesale from Earthsea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
think
haven't
so.
read Earthsea, ashamedly.
I haven't read Earthsea since like year 11 English. It was fun.
Yeah, but I often hear that Name of the Wind is ripped from Earthsea, and I think Name of the Wind is ripped from Eragon, which is ripping from Earthsea.
I believe it.
Because those books came out in like, what, 2010?
Yeah?
Maybe?
No, it was earlier than that. But I don't know.
Tizzy 2002. So
Oh yeah, no, Name of the Wind would have been like 2008 or something.
completely ripped from Eragon. Unbelievable.
Completely.
Plagiarists abound.
Yeah, I think name magic is good because it gives you like name magic for elements, not about true names or anything of like other people, because that's too much.
Oh, I've remembered it.
Yep.
Brom says at one point, people and elves used to just tell everyone their true names, but now it's a less trusting time. No society would ever have been doing that.
No.
Ever.
No.
That's so stupid.
Hey bro, do you want total power over me? Like, no.
Hey guy I just met, nice to meet you. This is the word that will give you complete power over my soul. No,
Can
no
I
one
have
did
yours?
that.
No.
Brom's just
Brom,
lying.
you're wrong. I'm not going to accept that.
I think an elf told him that once as a joke and he believed it.
To be fair, Brom does lie a lot.
Loves lying.
Brom
Loves
LOL.
lying.
I love Brom.
Love lying.
Sometimes Brom has the opportunity to just obfuscate the truth by talking around it a bit, and chooses specifically to lie as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a bit where when Eragon, right at the end of this chapter, Eragon asks if Brom has a what's it called, the Gedway Ignacia scar on his palm, and he's like, no, only riders have that. You could have just said only riders have that, and Eragon would be like, cool, he doesn't have one. But you chose specifically to also lie to him.
He loves it. He's addicted to lying and stealing.
And he hates taxes.
Yeah. I also love that Eragon's like, well, could I, like, heal your arm? And he's like, yeah. Why shouldn't I? I hadn't even thought about it until this moment.
And then he says, no, don't do it. It's going to take too much energy, I
Don't
think.
do it. You'll be tired.
You'll be tired. We have not much to talk about left.
Bro, I have a whole half page of notes.
Alright.
Alright.
We'll mark down the time as 49, but I'm going to keep talking.
Sorry, the podcast stops for no one.
Yeah.
Why can't I heal you, or I heal that with why can't you or I heal that with magic? Brom blinked. No reason. I just never considered it because it's beyond my strength. I have the concept of that. Blink, blink.
Oh.
No reason.
Do you think Brom knows healing magic? I think no.
I don't think Brom ever cared about healing.
No.
He's not the type.
He's attacking and killing.
He's also just like...
I guess the next thing to talk about is the pebble, but like it's not a huge thing.
Oh, no, we have the long bit of Brom getting really mad at the concept of trying to raise the dead. He's like, don't even fucking think about it. You can't do it. You'll just pour all of your life energy into a void and die. And that's what happened to everyone who ever tried to raise the dead. So do not raise the dead. And it's like, oh, I wonder if Eragon's going to try to raise the dead. I wonder if Eragon's going to think about going back to town and unburying his uncle.
And raising those dead.
Yeah, he might be considering.
I thought that was a good restriction to put in, just right off the bat. Like, fuck no, you cannot do that.
He's so insistent about it. And he's definitely, the reason he's so insistent about it is because Eragon's on a revenge quest for his dead uncle. So he's like, do not even think about rizzing your uncle. Don't think about that for 2 seconds. I'm telling you right now, you'll die instantly.
That Mercy Party Riz, don't bother. I was listening for editing purposes to one of our past episodes and thinking about how that house got exploded so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm still, like, baffled as to how
no
they did
idea.
They had fucking grenades.
that. Yeah, they had a landmine.
They can't cast magic, they just had grenades.
They could jump really high. It was established.
They jumped really high and put some dynamite on the roof.
No, I think they Goomba stomped that house.
I'm obsessed with the fact that the words for rising the stone are just stone rise.
Stone
Stone
Rise.
Rise.
Very cute. Oh,
Stone Riser. Let's just raise the stone. Come on.
a little further back when Brom tries to explain you can't lie in the ancient language, he murmurs some gibberish. A bird comes to get him. And then Eragon's like, wow, you're so cool.
I love the implication there that the only reason the birds don't come and sit on you at all times is because you might do them harm. But they wouldn't want to do that anyway.
You're not feeding them.
Yeah, like he didn't give it anything. He's just like, I will not harm you. And it's like, oh, thank God, I've been desperate to sit on your shoulder.
Awesome, thank God.
I think I vaguely remember, but some of these words might come back later. The do no harm thing.
Oh, yeah. Maybe.
So there is some.
Oh, the first do no harm or whatever.
Oh God. Oh no.
What is it? No harm be done to you.
Yeah.
Shield for sorrow.
Whatever. We don't need to get to that right now.
Anyway, there's some language in there, which is cool.
Yeah.
I again stand by, if you're a fantasy writer, you shouldn't write your own language because it's too much work and it's not worth it. Mm-hmm. But it's cute if it's consistent and if you're not showing it very much.
If the word for bird is feather blocker, I'm gonna throw up. Without the second E.
Maybe it is. I don't know.
That would be really funny.
I love his how much his training sucks and how many times he has to throw that pebble. I love the he had come to hate the pebble and everything about it line.
He's about to throw it away and then Brom's like, no, don't. Keep
Well,
it.
this is a special tool that will help us later.
Cool rock.
It's not a special pebble, though. It's literally just a pebble.
I'm pretty sure he holds onto it for ages.
He does.
Oh,
He holds
forever.
onto it for ages,
Yeah.
but it's just a pebble, and there's no reason for Brom to say, don't throw that pebble away.
It's not like
because he
a-
could pick up a new pebble. It would be completely the same.
You know when you find a cool rock and you have no reason to keep it, but you don't really want to throw it away? I think Brom found a cool rock and was just offended that Eragon would toss it to the wayside.
Well, yeah,
Well,
he
that's a
picks up a
recurring
handful
theme,
of
isn't it?
rocks.
From finding a cool rock.
Finding a cool rock and being offended that someone's friend.
Do you think
That's
something,
the father-son.
do you think something happened in Chris's life?
You think Chris
Do you-
gave someone a cool
Do you
rock?
think Angela threw out a cool rock?
No!
That's devastating for a child.
That's
You
kind
find someone a beautiful shiny riverstone and they
Yeah.
don't care.
I think that's exactly what happened.
I don't
We've
know.
unlocked it.
Yeah, I don't know if he has other siblings. I don't want to blame it all on Angela just because I know her name. She may not have done that. Disclaimer, Angela Paolini, please don't sue me
Yeah.
for saying you threw away a
No
rock.
libel, please. I loved Eragon fighting a wounded senior citizen and winning and going, woohoo, I'm the
Yes.
greatest warrior
Woohoo,
alive.
he's bruised too.
I'm just quickly going through the the acknowledgements at the end of the book. Only one sibling is mentioned.
Yeah, I think
he
he's
has
only
another
got one. But I don't actually know.
Maybe there was another sibling that just didn't help at all.
Wasn't it? You don't get an acknowledgement.
To
Wasn't worth it.
Ryan, who didn't give a fuck about my book.
Fuck you, Ryan. This one's for you.
I'm googling it. It should just be on Wikipedia, right? If he has sibling.
Hmm.
I don't want to go to palini.net right now. Later.
We learn a few more ancient language things. Small plant is Delois. Vonder is a thin, straight stick, and the Morning Star is Idale.
Yeah. He only has one sibling. She's younger.
I thought you were going to say he only has one straight stick. One son.
Well, Brom's got 2 straight sticks because he uses one of them to beat Eragon, and Eragon uses the other one to try and stop him from beating him.
Brom even beats him up with his left hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, training arc. He's getting better.
Yeah, he's getting better. Takes him a couple of days, but I think after this he's basically good.
Yeah.
He does his little training. He has this horrible dream.
Horrible Dream's very cool.
Is it implied here that Saphira can see his dreams? Or is he just like waking up distressed?
He's waking up in a cold sweat, being like, I've had a horrible, horrible night. But that's also possible.
Yeah. That'd be cute if they could see each other's dreams.
Eragon dreaming of Garrow and Roran at home in the destroyed kitchen. Funny image.
This is so... not to Animorphs on our podcast right now, but in book 6 of the Animorphs, Jake is having a recurring nightmare in which he is in Tiger Morph and he's stalking his brother Tom, who is controlled by one of the evil aliens.
Yeah.
And in this nightmare, he's stalking him and he's about to pounce, and at the moment he pounces to kill him, Tom turns around and it's Jake.
Oh!
And this just like feels so much like that.
Yeah.
You think our friend Chris was influenced by animals?
I fucking hope,
I hope
so.
he was reading Animorphs.
He's the right age. I desperately hope he was reading Animorphs. Animorphs ended in mid-2001.
If he was reading Animorphs, Eragon would have been able to turn into something, and he can't.
Well, maybe he didn't finish it.
He is mind melding with
But he could
Saphira,
have
but that could just
read
be
like the
anything.
first couple ones in like 1997. How old would he have been then? Like 8 or something, around there.
Yes.
Yeah, he would have been in the age range. He probably read a couple Animorphs. I hope he read that one specifically. I hope he read book 6, The Capture, and that dream sequence stuck with him. Because it's really well described. It's a very like... I mean, obviously it's a children's book and the metaphor there's pretty obvious,
Yeah.
but it's very like, as a child,
You're going,
whoa.
Oh, dream sequence.
Yeah, do we have anything else?
No, the dream sequences, they come up a lot in this book.
Yeah. This is the only one that we've had that's really meant anything.
Yeah. There's been some, like, of the people that, on the boat.
Oh, that bizarre one. I have no idea what
Yeah, I don't think that
idea what
ever
was
comes
about.
up.
I feel like it might, but I have no clue. Just some elf business, probably.
Watching the stars turn in the sky, very nice.
Yeah. All right. I think that's us for this week.
That's us.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for
Well,
listening to
What have we got lined up
What have
next
we
week?
got next
Yeah,
week?
Charlie, I think you're on recap.
I said
It's
last
you.
week that I was on recap and I lied.
Wrong.
Miscounted.
Yeah.
Discounted me.
So
Sorry,
we've got Darrett, Through a Dragon's Eye, and A Song for the Road.
Nice. That is 14.
Oh, and then
pages.
after that is A Taste of Tiem.
Oh
so
my
they're
God.
getting to Tiem.
Yeah, I thought that was way further in.
Not next episode, but episode after that, we are meeting Solemn Palm.
Yeah.
The
Taste
Witch and
of
the
Tiem, An
Werecat.
Old Friend and the Witch and the Werecat.
Oh, looking forward to
yes.
that.
Oh, and the old friend is pretty alright as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sick. Oh,
All
that's
right.
going to be fantastic. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you guys
All
so
right.
much for
Thanks for listening.
to Ears for Dragon, and we'll catch you next week.